Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. The drama at Brooke's hospital and Hope's startling discovery. According to previews for August 11th to 15th, 2025, Brooke Logan is admitted to the hospital and Hope Logan is appalled. As we always do on the day of the early edition, we begin by discussing the remainder of this week and then go on to the upcoming week. Spoilers for August 6th. Brooke's amazing rescue and Finn's startling discovery. Finn is so shocked when Grace Buckingham shares all the personal information on Wednesday, August 6th. She had previously made a sort of high-level admission, telling Finn that she had made it up. She pretended to be diagnosing Liam Spencer and explained why. However, it's not only about paying off Reese's debts. Grace will disclose more details, such as the fact that I believe Liam was drugged to simulate these cancer symptoms. The more Finn hears her unload, the worse it gets. Grace tells Finn everything and asks if they can just keep it between them. It's possible that Grace believes Bill Spencer won't miss the $1 million. Liam is doing fine. Can we just overlook it, then? Naturally, Finn will be horrified that Grace would have the audacity to ask him to hide what she did. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge saves Brooke. To save Brooke, Ridge Forrester plunges into the water and swims in her direction. The incident from Tuesday, where Nick was having trouble steering the boat and then got sucked into the wake of another boat because they were side by side, should be repeated. Brooke never should have been riding in the rear, and she slid off. Ridge dove in despite the fact that they weren't even that near the coast. It's a long swim in rough seas. Besides, is Brooke incapable of swimming? Ridge will swim all the way over there to save Brooke, despite the poor writing. That will be the realization. Rekindles Ridge's intense affection for Brooke. Eric Forrester was correct, and he will have to acknowledge it. Ridge simply cannot handle the idea of losing Brooke. It transforms everything. For this shot, Catherine Kelly Lang had a stunt double and a body double. I'm confident that Brooke will ultimately end up in an Italian hospital as a precaution to be examined. Without a doubt, Ridge is by her side devotedly because this has flipped a switch for him. A full montage of Brooke and Ridge flashbacks and other things are what I do anticipate. August 7th spoilers. Sheila and Lee's unexpected meeting and Grace's world collapsing. Sheila Carter and Lee Finnegan surprise one another during a meeting on Thursday, August 7th. Sheila is upset because Lee has not disclosed to her the location of Luna Nozawa's remains. She doesn't pose challenging queries. Did you spread the ashes on the beach? Is all Sheila wants to know. Have you buried her? All I want to do is go get some closure. So, aside from poor writing, I don't see why Lee doesn't simply state, "Oh, yeah, I spread her ashes on the beach." Sheila might therefore follow Lee, or simply knock on her door. Additionally, I anticipate that Sheila might see Lee caring for Luna. Lee and Sheila could take care of things. I do believe that they will approach this very differently than they did with the entire Finn dispute. Given that only those two love Luna, I believe they may get close because of their mutual affection for her. Grace's entire world collapses on Thursday, since Finn won't cover for her or allow this Liam fraud to remain undiscovered. She's aware that her career is probably doomed. I do have a suspicion that Grace is about to lose everything. When Bridget Forrester learns, I have no doubt that she will also want Finn to hold her accountable. Spoilers for August 8th. Brooke's hospitalization and Grace's coerced confession shock Hope. Finn makes Grace accompany him to the Spencer estate on Friday, August 8th, and compel her to tell Liam the truth. Finn encourages Grace to speak the truth to Liam. He never developed cancer. Hope is also present for this discussion. And since Grace is in a tight spot and will undoubtedly have to plead for mercy from Bold and the Beautiful, she really has no choice but to comply with Finn's requests. When Grace tells her story, Liam and Hope are completely stunned and incredulous. I do question whether she will come clean like she did with Finn. Regarding the cancer diagnosis, I have a suspicion that Grace was not lying. As I already stated, I think she was giving Liam drugs to cause the symptoms. Sincerely, Grace's use of off-label medications could have resulted in Liam's death. Brooke calls Hope to let her know that she's in the hospital following a boating accident. Hope will be astonished and anxious. While they're abroad, I do worry whether Brooke will let her know that things have changed with Ridge. Spoilers for August 11th to 15th. Grace deals with emotional reunions, family drama, and fallout. Following her surprising disclosure, Grace receives significant backlash from Finn and Bill during the week of August 11th to 15th. Bill is going to lose his mind. Additionally, it's more about drugging Liam, performing a fictitious surgery to cut open his brain, and frightening Bill's kid into believing that his life was over than it is about the money. Hope and Steffi Forrester were also alarmed by this. Bill might try to get Grace arrested. We might get a scene with Deputy Chief Baker, We shall see. I do wonder whether Grace will simply plead with Bill and put herself in his plight. How much he would have is unknown to me. Although he is happy to be around Liam again, and all that, this is really suspicious. Liam and Hope find it difficult to accept the terrible reality of what Grace did and what comes next. There might be an intriguing four-way dynamic there, as Daphne Rose is back in town and still wants Carter Walton. It is probable that Finn and Bridget will advocate for justice at University Hospital. Regardless of the type of punishment Bill desires, he may face criminal prosecution for fraud or other similar offenses. Given that Grace doesn't need to be providing any form of patient care going forward, I do anticipate that Finn and Bridget will want her fired for her actions. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful. Sheila can't help but be around Luna. Sheila will make an effort to assist Lee in saving Luna. It goes without saying that she will want to assist with the care. In fact, this might be a strange time for Finn's two mothers to bond. No one would anticipate Lee and Sheila working together on anything, really. And since Sheila might bust Luna if she doesn't cooperate, I believe Lee will ultimately be forced to accept Sheila's presence in her life. The worst worries of Taylor Hayes are realized. Ridge will have to tell Taylor the terrible news that he made a major revelation regarding Brooke when he gets back from Italy. We anticipate witnessing Taylor's heartbreak in the near future. We all know how obstinate Ridge can be once he makes up his mind, even if he may feel awful. Eric will be feeling very victorious. This reunion will make Brooke, Donna Logan, Katie Logan, and Hope very happy. In the end, Taylor is essentially left on his own when this occurs. Steffi is also absent. There is no Thomas Forrester. This could therefore hit her quite hard. Carter can be questioned by Daphne about whether Liam will desire Hope now that he is completely healed. Eric might pretend to feel sorry for Taylor. We shall see. And employees at 4. Bill's indignation over Liam's false illness. Hope and the risk of engagement. According to spoilers for the upcoming 3 weeks of The Bold and the Beautiful, August 4th to 22nd, Hope Logan and Carter Walton's engagement is put in jeopardy, and Bill Spencer will vent his rage over Liam Spencer's tumor fake-out. John Finnegan will uncover Grace Buckingham's scam during the week of August 4th to 8th, forcing her to tell Liam the truth. He will be astounded as Hope Logan when Grace admits to fabricating Liam's tumor and this miraculous operation. Grace will still have to deal with the consequences of her choices, even though she may complain that her debt has put her in a difficult situation. According to BNB spoilers, Brooke Logan and Nick Marone's boat journey in Italy will end badly when she is pushed into the ocean. Their impending reunion will be sparked by Ridge Forrester diving in as well and dragging Brooke to safety. Ridge will come to understand that Brooke, not Taylor Hayes, still has his heart. It will be time to return to Los Angeles and face reality during the week of August 11th to 15th. Will Ridge sit down with his present fiancée to deliver some terrible news? Ridge can't be with Brooke unless he breaks up with Taylor. Of course, there's also a chance that Taylor might lure more shockingly. Without a certain a tabloid picture of Ridge kissing Brooke after saving her, or anything similar might be shown. In any case, Ridge and Taylor will not have the joyful ending she had hoped for, because their wedding will be called off shortly. Bill, on the other hand, will probably receive updates regarding Grace's brain cancer fraud. Bill may lose his temper and demand legal repercussions because Grace caused him to send $1 million and endure a lot of mental distress. Hope and Carter's future may be in peril during the week of August 18th to 22nd because Daphne Rose will be around to stir things up. Daphne will be in conflict with Hope, since she will be flirting with Carter and hoping to get her own opportunity with him. Will Carter eventually use Daphne to betray Hope? If that's the case, Hope might eventually be pushed back toward Liam romantically. In the meantime, Brooke and Ridge have a strong chance of reviving their own marriage preparations. Ridge might decide to remarry Brooke rather than Taylor, and he might even swear that this time it will be forever. Brooke's hospital drama and Hope's stunning revelation. A bold and the beautiful 50,000-word spoiler recap. The week of August 6th through the 22nd, the world of the bold and the beautiful burst into turmoil and heartbreak as lies unraveled like a twisted thread, secrets destroyed lives, and love was put to the test in the conflagration of betrayal, guilt, and rekindled passion. It all started when Dr. John Finnegan confronted the ethically reprehensible Dr. Grace Buckingham after his own medical intuition and mounting doubts led him to investigate Liam Spencer's purported cancer diagnosis further. In a moment, that would change the lives of the Spencer, Logan, Forrester, and Finnegan families forever. Grace admitted to using off-label drugs to sedate Liam in order to keep him close to Hope and get a $1 million payout from Bill Spencer. She also admitted to fabricating the MRI scans that resulted in the false brain cancer diagnosis. Her intentions, however, went beyond simple greed. They were tinged with desperation, debt, and delusion, a last-ditch effort to make herself important in a society that had long since cast her into the shadows of Reese Buckingham's previous transgressions. Horrified, Finn rejected her request for confidentiality, pointing to the solemn pledge they had taken as doctors. For Liam, Hope, and the other people who had faith in the healthcare system, he called for justice. With tears streaming down her face, Grace begged Finn to leave town or resign quietly, but he refused. His voice trembled with rage as he declared, "This isn't about your career. It's about what's right." On the same day, Ridge Forrester, hundreds of miles away in Italy, dove into rough seas to save Brooke Logan after she was flung overboard during a tumultuous boating incident with Nick Marone. Every fantasy Ridge had about his future with Taylor Hayes was dashed in that instant. Ridge's heart ached with a clarity he hadn't experienced in months as he watched Brooke vanish beneath the waves. He pulled her up from the depths like a man, holding on to his very soul while he swam in despair. Brooke's ragged breathing and the icy shudder in her body as Ridge muttered, "I've got you," were all that mattered at the time, but the act, captured on a far-off paparazzi camera lens, would soon make headlines. Finn took Grace back to the Spencer estate in Los Angeles, where Liam was recuperating with Hope by his side. When Grace was confronted and confessed everything, the room fell silent. With every syllable, Hope's eyes grew wider, and her face changed from bewilderment to horror to fury. Scarred by an unnecessary surgery and the psychological aftermath from thinking he was dying, Liam took Hope's hand and then released it. Did you give me a drug?" His voice was husky as he inquired. Grace nodded, trembling. Hope gasped. "You gave us the impression that he was dying. You gave me the impression that I was losing him." Unable to comprehend the layers of violation, she turned away, tears running down her cheeks. Bridget Forrester, who had just arrived from University Hospital with a folder full of test results that verified everything, looked in shock as Finn stood guardedly next to them, his eyes fixed on Grace. "You should never again be in a hospital. Ever," Bridget stated icily. Grace started crying, but nobody came to her aid. In the meantime, Brooke came to in a hospital bed in Italy. Since the rescue, Ridge had remained by her side. When Brooke opened her eyes and saw Ridge, she smiled weakly, dizzy but stable. "You returned," she muttered. Ridge grasped her hand, and brought it to his mouth. I never should have left. Their love rekindled in those sterile hospital rooms with beeping monitors and sterile air and quiet but unmistakable sparks. A tabloid picture of Ridge kissing Brooke on the beach outside the Italian clinic surfaced the following day as Taylor Hayes was organizing wedding invitations and envisioning a future with Ridge. Donna, Logan, and Katie looked at each other knowingly. "He never truly left," Katie whispered. Eric Forrester himself broke the news to Taylor, who was seated firmly yet softly. He said, "I tried to tell you. Despite his feelings for you, Ridge is in love with Brooke." Taylor's face fell in silent destruction. "He always has been." Grace's disclosure caused Bill Spencer to respond less subtly. Bill tossed a heavy file onto the table and stormed into the hospital boardroom, where Finn and Bridget had summoned an emergency hearing. "You gave me the impression that my son would pass away. My money was stolen by you." He came in close, his voice shaking with anger. "You sliced him open like some monster in a horror movie." Finn and Bridget decided to turn everything over to Deputy Chief Baker, saying, "You're going to prison, Grace." That afternoon, Grace was placed in handcuffs. As she was taken away, she sobbed, "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I only wanted to put things right." However, there was no turning back now. After the arrest, Hope and Liam sat in quiet, not knowing where they stood. "Do you believe that if none of this had occurred, we would have reconnected?" Hope whispered the question. Liam remained silent. Daphne Rose returned across town, stopping by Carter Walton with a seductive grin. She said, "I hope she's too busy playing nurse to Liam. However, I recall a time when you were only interested in me." Ridge went back to Los Angeles and looked for Taylor while Carter struggled with temptation. It hurt to listen to them talk. "You will always be important to me," Ridge remarked. However, what transpired with Brooke altered everything. Taylor swallowed her emotions and nodded, saying, "I nearly lost her." She said, "You've already lost me." Officially, their wedding was canceled. Taylor stood by himself at the window of the Forrester home, watching the storm clouds roll in. Lee Finnegan was in the middle of her own storm in another area of town. After pursuing her and demanding information regarding Luna's remains, Sheila Carter stormed into Lee's private clinic, only to discover Luna hidden, sedated, and alive. "You staged her demise," Sheila exclaimed. Lee attempted to defend it by saying, "Just like you did with Finn." She posed a threat. Unmanageable. I had to keep her safe from herself. Sheila, however, would not have it. She growled, "She's my granddaughter, and you are no longer allowed to play God." Against all odds, Lee and Sheila agreed to care for Luna until she could be properly rehabilitated, forming an uncomfortable relationship. "Everyone else wouldn't," Lee whispered. When Finn learned the truth, he was conflicted between relief and anger. "We're all she has left." As they worked through their mending together, Hope, who had been upset by Carter and Daphne's growing intimacy, found herself drawn back to Liam. She claimed that both of us had been misled. In the same Italian facility where he saved Brooke's life, Ridge proposed to her once more by the week of August 18th. "But perhaps the truth can set us free," he declared. "No more back and forth. You are it." Through sobs, Brooke nodded. "You've always been it." "This time forever?" she inquired. "Eternally," Ridge pledged. However, not everyone had a happy ending. Steffi informed Taylor in a letter that she would not be going back to Los Angeles anytime soon. With a sardonic smile, Eric celebrated Ridge's engagement. "I told you," he reported. Grace was formally fired when Bridget assumed the role of interim chief at the hospital. At Forrester Creations, Daphne pressed Carter, asking, "What if Liam wants Hope again?" And in a silent moment, Liam watched the rain fall outside Luna's private hospital room without knowing she had survived. "Everything is different," he muttered.